I'm going to talk about how chronic inflammation leads to all these different diseases from arthritis to diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. If you stick around to the end, I'll tell you what's causing this huge spike in inflammation that we're seeing across our society, and more importantly, what you can do to get rid of it. So let's dive right in. All right, inflammation is the body's way of defending itself from injury or infection. But when the body's defense system stays turned on too long, that's when it becomes a problem. When we have chronic inflammation, we have a lot of different issues that can occur. We can have pain, fatigue, loss of function, and obviously an increased risk of getting various diseases. What is interesting is that chronic inflammation is linked to diseases like arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, just to name a few. It occurs when your immune system has been activated for a long period of time and starts to damage your own tissues. Our ancestors used to get sick, they would become inflamed, and then their immune system would turn off that inflammation and everything would go back to normal. But today, people are becoming chronically ill because their immune system never turns off that inflammation. One thing that will cause inflammation to occur is a poor diet. A diet high in refined sugar and flour, unhealthy fats, processed foods, and fried foods will trigger inflammation. In fact, overeating in general triggers inflammation. Another cause of inflammation is physical stress like overuse injuries and repetitive stress. Mental stress can also activate inflammation. This is why during times of stress, people often develop skin rashes, stomach problems, or other types of pain. Environmental toxins can also trigger inflammation. These are chemicals found in things like cigarette smoke, vehicle exhaust, and even household cleaners. All of these things put extra stress on the body and activate the immune system, which then produces inflammatory compounds. Fortunately, there are things you can do to help manage inflammation. First of all, eat anti-inflammatory foods. These are foods that actively fight inflammation instead of triggering it. Good sources of anti-inflammatory nutrients include fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, and whole grains. These foods contain vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals that support your body's natural defense system and promote overall health. Omega-3 fatty acids are also good to include in your diet. These are found in foods like fatty fish, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. These healthy fats actively reduce inflammation and support joint health. Exercise also helps reduce inflammation. Exercise strengthens your cardiovascular system, boosts circulation, and reduces stress. These are all important factors in keeping your immune system balanced and reducing inflammation. The best exercises are ones that improve your cardiovascular fitness like brisk walking, cycling, swimming, or dancing. And don't forget about stress management. Practice techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or yoga. Get enough sleep, take breaks, and spend time in nature. All these things can help you manage stress and keep inflammation under control. It's also important to avoid smoking and drinking too much alcohol. Both of these habits can trigger inflammation and worsen existing conditions. Smoking damages blood vessels and increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. Alcohol, on the other hand, affects the liver and pancreas and can contribute to diabetes and other conditions. So if you want to reduce inflammation, quit smoking, limit alcohol, and be mindful of your stress levels. All these steps can help reduce your risk of developing chronic inflammatory conditions and allow you to live a healthier life. But what's really interesting is that we're starting to see a huge spike in inflammation across our society. People are becoming chronically inflamed at younger and younger ages, and it's not due to the things I just mentioned. I mean, these things play a role, but they're not the primary cause. In fact, scientists have discovered something else that can cause chronic inflammation. And it's something we didn't really understand until recently. It's the trillions of bacteria that make their home in and on our bodies. These bacteria play a crucial role in our health, influencing everything from digestion to immunity. But when this delicate balance is disrupted, it can lead to some serious health issues, including chronic inflammation. The human body is home to trillions of bacteria that collectively known as the microbiome. These bacteria, which mostly reside in the gut, are essential for breaking down food, synthesizing vitamins, and strengthening the immune system. But when the composition or balance of the microbiome is altered, it can lead to a state of chronic inflammation. So, what exactly causes this imbalance in our microbiome? One major culprit is the overuse of antibiotics. Antibiotics are powerful drugs that save lives when we're fighting bacterial infections. But when they're used excessively or unnecessarily, they can wipe out not only harmful bacteria, but also beneficial bacteria in our gut. This disruption in the balance of the microbiome can lead to a state of chronic inflammation. Another factor contributing to this imbalance is our increasingly sterile environment. As we grow up in a clean environment, we're exposed to fewer and fewer microbes, which means our immune system doesn't get the chance to develop the necessary tolerance and defense mechanisms against harmless substances. This lack of exposure can lead to a heightened immune response when we encounter these substances later in life, resulting in chronic inflammation. And what about our diet? The standard American diet, with its highly processed foods, refined sugars, and unhealthy fats, is not doing our microbiome any favors. This diet lacks the fiber and diversity of food that's necessary for supporting a healthy and balanced gut microbiome. The result is a microbiome that's less resilient and more prone to imbalances that lead to inflammation. The effects of this chronic inflammation caused by an imbalanced microbiome can be far-reaching. It's been linked to a host of chronic conditions that are on the rise, including autoimmune disorders like rheumatoid arthritis and inflammatory bowel disease. It can also increase the risk of obesity, diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. But here's the good news. By understanding the root causes of this inflammatory response, we can take steps to protect our microbiome and prevent chronic inflammation. Reducing the use of antibiotics is crucial. Overuse of antibiotics should be curbed, especially in agriculture, where they're often given to livestock. We also need to reevaluate our obsession with cleanliness. Exposing ourselves to a variety of microbes early in life can help build a robust immune system that's better equipped to handle future challenges. Finally, we must address our dietary habits. Eating a diet rich in fiber, including plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, can help nourish our microbiome and maintain its balance. Now, I know all this might sound pretty serious, but remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about chronic inflammation and what causes it, the better we can take control of our health. It's not about making drastic changes to our lives. It's about making informed choices. It's about being aware of the impact of our daily decisions, whether it's the food we eat, the products we use, or the medications we take. Every choice we make has a ripple effect on our health and the health of our microbiome. So I encourage you to dig deeper, to ask questions, and to make changes that work for you. Remember, you have the power to improve your health and well-being, and by understanding the science behind chronic inflammation, you're taking the first step towards a healthier, happier you. Hey, before you go, if you're benefiting from any of my content, I would love to hear about your success story. Please share it in the link down below.